a little something to start the video. So, there are tons of bodybuilding routines out there on the internet, and for someone who's just trying to start out, or for someone who's just trying to get consistent with one thing, it can be pretty overwhelming. There are people who say push pull legs is the ultimate split, and there are some who say, full body is even better. There are some people who just collectively shit on everything, especially bro split. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking them all down for you so that you get to understand which one you should be following. Then I'm going to give you a few modifications that will make your split just 120 times better, and you will be able to understand the routine that you should follow according to your goals. Now, before we start, a quick disclaimer. There is one skill that you should acquire when it comes to this particular topic, and that is non-judgmental thinking. There are a lot of reviews about a lot of things on the internet, both positive and negative. So you should be able to decipher what you want according to your goals, regardless of what anyone else says. And that includes me too. So let's take a look at the 3 most effective workout splits, and let's compare them on the basis of their hypertrophy. A systematic review consisting of around 14 studies and 400 subjects, they took a look at full body routines versus split routines. And they actually figured out the result that the hypertrophy was similar as long as the volume was equated. But a majority of research also shows that even if the volume is equated, a person who trains with higher frequency, so more number of times per week, tends to have more hypertrophy. So if you're training your chest, you have more chance of muscle growth if you're training it twice a week rather than once a week. Now, all of the geek stuff that I just said leads us to this table. Here we have a table consisting of the 3 most effective body workout splits: bro split, push pull legs, and full body. And we have the frequency and their muscle growth. From this, we can understand that bro split is generally lesser in terms of muscle hypertrophy, and full body, even though you work out 3 times a week, even though the frequency is higher, it tends to give you more injury, it tends to make you more prone to fatigue, one that you don't actually want. Push pull legs, however, is in that sweet spot. So you work out twice a week, you have the proper amount of fatigue, you have increase in hypertrophy, and it increases pretty consistently too. Now, here's a bit of personal advice. Take it with a pinch of salt. When I first started to work out, I went into bro split, even though it is on the lower ranks of muscle hypertrophy. Why? Because it is easier to get more disciplined in bro split when you're starting out. You don't have to think a lot. It's just one muscle a day. You don't have to think about your form as much as when you're working out multiple muscles a day, like push pull legs and upper lower. Once I was into bro split for around 2 to 3 months and I was actually consistent, I switched it up to prioritize my hypertrophy more than my discipline, because my discipline was already clogged in then. So I prioritized my hypertrophy with push pull legs. Try doing this if you're starting out, and there's a chance that you tend to get more effective this way. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, I just do what I've been told and pick one of the 3 splits and follow it, right? Wrong. I mean, just a little. You see, push pull legs is good. It is already better than what you've probably been following previously, but there are a few things that you can do to make it even better, even more apt for hypertrophy. You see, instead of following push pull legs, rest, you can follow something that I've been doing so far, which is push pull legs, chest and back, shoulder and arms, rest. Or you can incorporate this rest right after legs day. I work out my legs only once a week rather than twice, because I hit everything pretty much to failure and my fatigue lasts like 3 to 4 days after my leg workout. And I've been noticing pretty alright gains too. Like I said, it depends on your goal. The reason you're working out chest and back and shoulder and arms instead of push and pull is because, of course, it brings in a lot of variety by activating different combination of muscles. It also improves your overall form and stability. One final thing that you can do related to this particular split is switching out your biceps and your triceps. So during your push day, when you usually work out your chest, shoulder and triceps, when you move in that order, chances are your triceps are already fatigued, because you use your triceps at least a little for your chest and shoulder workouts. So when you move on to your last and final tricep exercise, chances are you won't be able to hit failure as good or as efficiently, and you won't be able to experience as much muscle growth as when you're training a totally unrelated muscle group. which is biceps right here. When you train your chest and shoulders, your biceps are still untrained, they're unaffected. So then when you move on to your biceps, your efficiency is still at its maximum. The same thing applies to when you're going on to back and biceps. Instead of back and biceps, if you work out your back and then you hit your failure and then you move on to your triceps, chances are you will tend to experience a hell of a lot of muscle growth. So our split right now goes chest, shoulder and biceps, back and triceps, legs, rest, chest and back, shoulder and arms, rest. That's 7 days of the week. This is good. In fact, it's great. But you may notice that a few things are missing, especially if your goal is aesthetic muscle building. Things that are missing are abs, forearms and neck. These tend to be overlooked at times, but if you just incorporate them into your split the right way, you get crazy overall development. Here's how you should go about doing that. Train your abs 2 to 3 times a week at the end of your push or your leg days. You can do weighted crunches, knee to chest raises, Russian twists, planks, side planks, etc. Train forearms 2 times a week at the end of your pull day or your leg day. You can do wrist curls, reverse wrist curls, hammer curls. Train your neck 1 to 2 times a week, ideally at the end of your chest and back day or your shoulder and arms day. You can train this by doing neck flexion, neck extension and neck isometric holds. So there you have it. My current split actually follows all of these, and if you want to take a look at what I've been doing so far, it'll be pinned down in the comments below. Subscribe to Him Protocol and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.